Unstoppable.
My name's Jeff DeModna. I am the VP of Recruiting Services at ExtensisHR. We are a PEO, which is a professional employer organization based out of New Jersey, where we essentially do outsourced HR for small, medium businesses. And one of the big differentiators for us is the fact that not only do we hire for Extensis, which has grown tremendously. We're 27 years of existence. The last 3 years have been the biggest years we've ever had. But we also include recruiting for our clients. So the partnership with HireEasy has allowed us to do that at an unbelievable rate. And I'm excited to talk to you about leveraging AI across the life cycle. A lot of what other panelists here have mentioned a little bit, but also just that human element, right? I've little background about myself. I've been in the AI recruiting world for about 9 years now. Before I joined Extensis, I was with a startup based out of New Jersey that was doing AI sourcing. And every 9 years, there's a ton of webinars and trainings and all these things that are AI related, and they all talk about one thing, and that is the fact that you cannot lose the human element, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go through the process, but essentially, you just want to go step by step, right? We're going to start with there we go. And we're going to start with where we start, right? Workforce planning, requisition intake forms. AI, where can it help? It helps with analyzing hiring trends, compensation benchmarks. We use a platform that pulls straight from the federal census bureau to make sure that we're comparing and contrasting our different markets in terms of salary and compensation, talent pools. We've grown, like I mentioned, the last couple of years tremendously. We moved into the Southeast, we moved out west. So being able to compare these accurately has been unbelievable, right? And giving us a lot of insight to what we're looking for when we're going into these new markets, creating intakes and templates, as well as suggested questions. The suggested question part is huge. For us, we work with our clients. We hired over 300 people for our clients alone last year. That wasn't counting the 100 plus for Extensis, but we are not subject matter experts on every client we work with, right? So when they come to us with certain jobs or different from a different industry that we might not necessarily be as accustomed to, we go into AI, we pull these suggested questions. It really allows us to go in and be strong and have that leverage in the conversation that is there, right? And again, identifies the market availability and the time to fill. The expectations that we're able to provide for our clients is tremendous. It's a huge thing because a lot of them come in with very much high hopes, and we're able to either level set or match that enthusiasm based on some of the data that we're able to pull from a lot of these AI-driven platforms that are providing these different trends and benchmarks. All of that is great, but where's the human side of it come in, right? For us, we're working with clients, we're working with our hiring managers. And to me, you got to build that trust with the hiring managers in order to build a long-term relationship. When you're working with them and we're hiring them, I want my team to become really an extension of their department, an extension of their organization. And that happens through human elements, human interaction. It clarifies obviously the business goals and all these team dynamics and understanding some of the nuances and urgency. I love the urgency part on that slide, right? Because for us, again, dealing with clients, we have an included piece of our solution. So some of them are coming to us and kind of trying to feel it out. So it's important for us to have these conversations and these discussions, person to person, so we can understand, hey, are you looking for someone yesterday? Or is this more of like a slow build? Are we kind of feeling this out? Is this something that might be down the road? All of that takes place more in that human interaction in those conversations, as opposed to data-driven, results. The job description creation is probably the most obvious and easiest one that came to us, right? We've started using it right off the bat to create job descriptions. I honestly, just the polished job description that you can get through AI is incredible. I love the interview process. I love meeting with people. I love the human element of it. I don't love, writing out something for 45 minutes to make sure that it sounds right, right? And you use templates. Are they up to date? Are they compliant? The AI piece to this allows for a lot of those things to stay fresh, using different words, obviously removing the biased language. It really has allowed for a cleaner, more uniformed when we need to be, more unique when we want to go that route, job description. And what we've seen is that it's allowed for us to really kind of enhance how we go about getting our candidates in and building that talent pool. But again, there's got to be eyes on it, right? So you're ensuring what our company culture looks like. What do we want to get out there? Highlights and unique selling points. For example, if I'm creating a job description for my organization, I want to make sure that the idea that we're growing so rapidly is involved. The idea that we were just named one of the top companies in the PEO in terms of employee engagement is involved. Those are things that I'm going to know, right? They're not necessarily within those AI search platforms. So I need to make sure that they utilize it when I'm entering in there and kind of build it around that. And same with the aligning with the leadership expectations. ChatGPT is not necessarily in the SLT meeting or in our town hall. So it keeps that sense of urgency, that sense of just kind of time freshness in terms of what we're delivering to the candidates. Sourcing is obviously, we've utilized HireEasy now for 4+ years, building out searches, casting that wide net. One of the things I love for us is that obviously the automated outreach, we use the auto engage and HireEasy constantly, right? I know for me back in the day, I used to do a lot of university style hiring, 20, 25 new employees on a monthly basis. You're reaching out to hundreds of people in a quarter knowing, did I reach back out to them? Have I heard back? And you're following through an applicant tracking, but it's not the same. That auto engage has been probably the biggest game changer for me in 15+ years of recruiting. It's really phenomenal. That and the gamified approach that HireEasy allows us to go about it with the collaborator license, where it's thumbs up, thumbs down, starts the auto engage or adjust the search when necessary. Not only has it sped up the process and it made us more efficient, it puts a lot of, it puts skin in the game for our clients and for the hiring managers. It makes them have to be responsible to go in and review those profiles, click that thumbs up, thumbs down. So it's been a win-win for us and really a game changer. That being said, you still got to, the employee experience starts with the candidate experience. So there's always that personal touch. And I think more so than ever, where there's so much automated outreach, every response seems to be calculated, even the text messages you're getting, right? I think more and more people are aware of it and they want to have that human element at some point during the process. So the personal touch, the evaluation of the candidates, especially if they're passive candidates, they might throw their name in the hat for a second. Having those conversations and really building them, putting on your sales hat in certain spots to tell them, to get them convinced and kind of enthusiastic for the job. Those are things that the human element comes in, but man, being able to build out a search in seconds and blast it out or become as fine as we need it to be, it's really been unbelievable. On the screening side, I know Larry was talking earlier about using the note takers and things along those lines. Again, for me, I love the art form of the interview. That's my favorite part of being a recruiter. It's something that I've always, really gravitated towards and why I got into the business, to be honest, is something that I felt that I could do well and really intrigued me. The AI note takers are allowing you to be engaged in the conversation instead of taking notes, instead of my scribble, which is just awful, and worrying about whether or not I got all the information necessary. I'm able to sit there and really be involved. I find that my interviews are longer, they're a little bit deeper. I'm able to get candidates to elaborate a little bit stronger on their stories because I'm not worried about getting to the next question. It's made my team and myself much stronger at the interview itself. One thing here it says, flags, skill matches and potential gaps. It's great that these AI note takers allow the job description to kind of coordinate with the conversation, but just remember that decisions should not be based on, by the AI. You want to look into them. It's a good those red flags are good for you to dive into, ask more questions, ask the candidate to elaborate, but don't be making decisions based on what that says. And again, these screenings are amazing, but you want to talk to someone, you want to build a rapport. They're buying you. They're still buying the recruiter in a lot of time, in a lot of sense of the word. So you want to evaluate their motivations. Well, you want to talk to them about their experiences. It's really important for them to understand who they're dealing with and who they're interacting with. I see it all the time. We've hired a lot of entry level people over the years, and they have a connection with the recruiter, not just through the onboarding process, but for years and years to come. We just had a candidate actually get promoted within our organization that worked with one of our senior recruiters. We found her coming out of school, started in the entry level, got into our mentor mentee program, developed a relationship, and they've been interacting for years. That's something that you can't remove from the process and from your organization. It's something that's going to help develop an organization that people want to work with and want to stay with and grow with over a long period of time. Obviously, the automated scheduling and reminders is phenomenal. I saw someone mention that earlier. It makes life so much easier than, hey, here's six availabilities. You use these invites and whatnot, and you're tracking feedback, you're generating summaries. Again, a lot of it's just reminders. We're all moving so fast. It's great to have a quick summary or a profile as opposed to the, old school 3-page resume, right? It just kind of condenses it into what you need and makes it much more efficient. That being said, people leave jobs and join jobs because of managers and because of who they're interacting with, right? So it allows, it's really important that our managers understand where they can utilize the information they're getting, but still put their human touch on that. There's a lot of different things with the interview coordination, but a lot of it is still, understanding where the managers are coming from and where they need to jump in. In the candidate evaluation, again, it provides feedback, the comparisons, obviously, there's different things there, the identifying risks. But again, it's more of, to me, the summary aspect of it. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're balancing the dynamics between yourself and the data and your leadership team, using your understanding of what's going on, and where it fits in within the organization, timing aspects of it as well, and how it moves along within the process. These are all very important pieces where the human element and the data that's coming through the AI really blend together. Obviously, offer letters, creating offer letters and drafts is phenomenal. We do something, we have so many different offer letter templates with clauses and variables and so on and so forth that the AI matches with the job description, and allows for our compliance team and our legal team actually to be able to review them in a much quicker and efficient fashion. But again, the human element, right? For me, 15 years, the biggest change I've seen is that every single person negotiates. It doesn't matter if they're an intern or an internal employee or a CEO. Everybody's going to negotiate, and they're going to negotiate with the recruiter or with the hiring manager. So there's always something to have that conversation with. And the other piece is like the closeout, right? I think there's a time and place for those automated messages. But if you have someone who goes through a process and maybe they're a final two of a 3 or 4 step process, to me, there's still, and maybe it's an old school approach, there's still value in making that phone call and talking to the person and discussing with them that you're not moving forward. There's clarity there, there's closure, and there's a human element to it that allows for them to look at you and your organization as at least sympathetic, and a warmer organization than one who would just send an automated um, decline message after multiple steps. Onboarding, the syncing of everything, schedule check-ins, different kind of engagements. We use it a lot for getting people prepared internally. Hey, our tech team and things along those lines of what's coming in. It all kind of ties together with how these systems blend. But the human element, again, those long-term relationships. Our new hires develop a relationship with the recruiter and with our trainer at an unbelievable level. That partnership and the strengthening of the relationship and the comfort level they have when they come into the organization is something that, automated messages and whatnot during onboarding, can't really provide. So it's very important, especially there, that we're starting them with, a warm and fuzzy feeling that I think only that human interaction can provide. So for me, again, the technology enhances it for recruiters. It doesn't replace them. But when we can blend these together, it allows for, just a great experience, and it's really made for a much more efficient process. And I know for Extensis HR, it's allowed us to enhance what we're able to offer our clients, which has enhanced our business tremendously over the last couple of years. So